S.S.S. Terumah, Tufshin Pei Gimel. Want to welcome all the special guests here tonight. We have some celebrities here tonight. Shout out, Nachman Gelbwax is here. And once he's here, that means everybody's coming tonight. So what can we speak about in Parshas Terumah? He thought I wouldn't do that, by the way. What can we speak about in Parshas Terumah? We think so much as Yidden. We speak about the idea of Mashiach coming and what it will be like when Mashiach comes, when we have the opportunity to build the Beis HaMikdash. And of course, everybody knows it's becoming more and more apparent every day that the time of Mashiach is getting closer and closer. It's getting here. Aside from what we heard, and we hear from Gedolim that Mashiach is right here, Mashiach is right outside the door, we just have to make the effort to let Mashiach in. So the time is getting very, very close. And it would probably be a very good idea for every one of us to understand what this Beis HaMikdash was, what this dwelling place for HaKadosh Baruch Hu was, and what it will really be all about. Think about it for a moment. Could you imagine? You know, you get to pick your neighbors, and you're happy when you have good neighbors. Imagine HaKadosh Baruch Hu living among us. Try to think for a minute. HaKadosh Baruch Hu living in your neighborhood. Pretty awesome and amazing thought. Yet, that is precisely what is happening. And then we get to our Parsha. Chazal tell us in the Medrash Tanchuma in Parshas Nosoi that B'shah shebara HaKadosh Baruch Hu es ha'olam, at the time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, Nisave sheyehei loi dira b'tachtoinim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to have a dwelling place, to have a home here, down here in Olam Hazeh, down here on our earth. Kishem sheyesh loi dira b'elyonim. That when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, He created it with a purpose, it seems, from this Medrash. And the purpose of this world is that just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu always had a dira b'elyonim, a dwelling place, a place to live up in the heavens, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted that He should have a place to live down here. The Nesivos Shalom says that what this actually means is that just like the dira, the dwelling place of Hashem up Be'elyonim and Shamayim, has no Yetzer Hara, and it consists of pure Kedusha, so too what Hashem wants over here, Hashem is looking for a residence here on this world that is on that elevated level of Kedusha. And this tzivoy in our parsha of V'yasuli Mikdash, V'sholchanti b'soicham, that tzivoy in the pasuk is referring to this tachlis habriya, this purpose of creation that we are speaking about. The purpose of creation being that Hashem is looking for real estate, kaviyachol, here amongst us on this world. Yet the only way it's going to happen is if we raise the level of kedusha to such a level that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, kaviyachol, would feel comfortable. Hashem wants that each and every Yid should turn themselves into a small Beis HaMikdash. Don't worry about your neighbors. Don't demand of other people. Look inward. Look at yourself and say, am I creating an atmosphere? Am I creating a place? Am I turning myself into a mikdash? And what that means in plain English is that you need to turn yourself into a person that does only the Ratzon Hashem. We do what Hashem wants. We're mevatel our own taivas, our own wants, our own desires, our own cheshbonos of what we think might be right, it might be better, it might be worse. All that gets put aside, and we follow the Torah. We follow our tzaddikim, our Talmidei Chachamim, the people that tell us what does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want at this moment. How do we create an atmosphere that is conducive to Hashroitz Hashchina? The Torah, as we know, famously says, "B'shochanti b'soicham." It doesn't say, "Build for me a mikdash b'shochanti b'soichoi," and I will dwell in it. Technically, that should be the language, that should be the usage, the way we describe, you build something, v'shochanti b'soichoi. Yet the Torah says, v'shochanti b'soicham. And Rashi alludes to it, that what we mean by b'soicham is b'soich kol echad ve'echad. Straight out, we're telling you that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to have a dwelling place in your house, in my house, in everyone's house. Each and every person, b'soich kol echad ve'echad. Today, Hashem wants to dwell amongst you, and that's the way you have to look at the way you behave, the way you act, the way you do things. Is HaKadosh Baruch Hu comfortable? You can make the most beautiful Shabbos tish. You have a beautiful Shabbos table with all the halachas and hilchas Shabbos, but yet you sit by the table and you talk Lashon Hara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not comfortable. You're being over Isurim, dozens of Isurim, one after the other. That's not a place of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's not b'shochanti b'soicham. The environment needs to be one of Kedusha. The Ramchal says, brought down in Nesivos Shalom, the Ramchal says that the level of Kedusha that we speak about here is one of where your actions are like a korban and a mizbeach, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu has pleasure from your actions. And although that is actually something which would seem pretty impossible, to be on that level of Kedusha, to be on the alert, to be so focused that everything that you do is on such a level of Kedusha, like a korban on Mizbeach, really, although that's impossible, but famously the Nesivos Shalom always says, and he talks about the Madrega and the Midah of Kedusha, and the way Kedusha works is that you are not expected to complete and to do everything. Kedusha is Tchilasai Hishtadlus. You do your Hishtadlus, you try, you put in the effort. V'soifoi matana. The end comes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that you're serious, and you want to change, and you want to grow, and you want a level of Kedusha, you want to have Kedusha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu helps you out if you take the first steps. You do your part, and then Hashem starts giving you the matanos. He gives you the siyata d'shmaya, and it's plain to see. You try it. You see, when you begin to elevate your level, when you begin to do things on a higher madrega, all of a sudden you see, you get the siyata d'shmaya from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to grow more and more. That is the way that Kedusha works. Give it a try. You'll see that it works that way. You have a great opportunity to begin. You have a great opportunity to know also that you only have to begin. Put in the effort, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help you out. By you making yourself into a mikdash, you're actually fulfilling the purpose of this world for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to see. And if you do it, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, obviously, if it's something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kaviyachol wants, He's going to help you out, because He sees you're doing His will. So when Chazal told us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Nisave HaKadosh Baruch Hu liyos dira b'tachtoinim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants a dwelling place, He wants a home, He wants a comfortable place here, down in our world, it does not just mean the Mishkan or the Beis HaMikdash. In our Parsha, we're talking about the Mishkan. When Mashiach comes very soon, we're going to apply all the same principles and laws to the Beis HaMikdash. But we're not just talking about that. What we're talking about is that it's something that each and every one of us can be mekayim today. We could be mekayim it each and every day in our times by making yourself into a mishkan, by making your home, your surroundings, your workplace, your place in yeshiva, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you create a holy atmosphere. You create an elevated situation. That is the mishkan of today. That is your job, making yourself into a mishkan, as we say, b'soich kol echad ve'echad. And that is why the Torah speaks at such a great length for so many parshiyos, Terumah, Tetzaveh, Kisisa, Vayakel, Pekudei, for so many parshiyos, and over different laws about the Mishkan. We speak about it now for a few weeks straight because it's teaching us the purpose of creation. I mean, we know that we darshan a myriad of things from every extra word in the Torah, every extra letter in the Torah, and here we see, we repeat ourselves, and we go over for 5 parshiyos. We repeat so much about the Mishkan. The reason is, says in Nesivos Shalom, it's because we're not just talking about anything here. We're talking about the purpose of the Bria, the purpose of creation. And the Nesivos Shalom says that to create a space and a place in our lives where Hashem will want to dwell, Kaviyachol, is the focus of the purpose of the world, what every person should really be focused on. And he also adds that this too is why the Torah injects the subject of Shabbos into both Parshas Kisisa and Parshas Vayakel. That we speak about the Mishkan, and for some reason, right in the middle, in Parshas Kisisa and also in Vayakel, all of a sudden we're talking about Shabbos also, because Shabbos too has that component, it has that idea of the Asuli Mikdash. Shabbos Kodesh is Dveikus Hashem, Avas Hashem. That too is the purpose of every single Yid. So once we're focusing on the purpose of the world, of turning yourself into a mikdash, about creating a mikdash, about building a mikdash, we also speak about Shabbos, which builds and creates a person, turns you into a person that has Dveikus Hashem and Avas Hashem. To love Hashem and to connect Hashem, that turns you into a person of Kedusha, and that turns the person into a Beis HaMikdash Katan, also, each person in their own way. The Kabrina Rav Zchus Yogan Aleinu says, Techila l'mikroi kodesh. We say in the Kiddush, Techila l'mikroi kodesh. And he says a beautiful translation, we mentioned it in the past, on these words. Somebody who wants to add Kedusha to their life. You want to become a person that is more holy, Techila l'mikroi kodesh. Shabbos is the beginning, and the first thing you should concentrate on when you want to raise your level of Kedusha. So when you're saying it in Kiddush tomorrow night, you say, Techila l'mikroi kodesh da, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is just the beginning. I want to turn my house, myself, my place, my Shabbos table, I want to turn it into a mikdash. I'm going to start with Shabbos. One who wants to elevate their Kedusha should begin with Shabbos. So we see how Shabbos and the Mishkan go together. They both serve the purpose of the world, the purpose of creation, to turn each and every person into a mikdash ma'at. Every person in their own way. And this is something we can all work on. We give it the best try. We give it the best effort we can get. And as Nesivos Shalom tells us, that the beginning is ishtadlus. Just try. The soifay matana. At the end, the Kadosh Baruch Hu will give it to you. Let's start this week. We're starting to build the Mishkan. Let's build it together, each person in their own way. And we'll be well on our way to doing what it takes for us, that we should be able to build the Beis HaMikdash speedily in our days.